Remember the Queen and David Bowie song where they joined forces and sang Under Pressure? That's what you get today, not from the Buffalo Bills, who look really good to start the season. It's from the Miami Dolphins and their head coaching staff and their quarterback and their wide receivers and their general manager to put up a fight. The one thing we know, Joe Raineri, in the NFL, it's really hard to go on the road on a Thursday night. And this isn't, hey, let's get on a plane and go to Tampa or Jacksonville on a Thursday. Not that bad. No, you get on a plane from South Florida, you fly to Buffalo. That's a good travel distance. And tonight, Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins are on the road to take on the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. The price point in this game, just about everywhere, 11.5 to 12.5. The total, 49.5. Let's start here with the game itself, Joe. The pressure on the Dolphins of moving to 0-3 and what it means for that franchise.
Well, it means everything because we all know statistically the percentage of teams that start the season 0-3 and go anywhere even remotely close to the postseason is basically slim to none here. But now, the Dolphins have not won at Orchard Park, Donnie, since 2016. So now they are expected to save their season and go there. And with this team now that all of a sudden, Donnie, is now built to be a power running team. They are running over They ran over the Ravens, supposed to be a great running defense. The Jets were supposed to be their bread and butter, ran right over them. And now they're going up against a Dolphins team that has no secondary and can't stop the run anyway. So this is either going to be a 50-point blowout or Buffalo, who's racking up the injuries, Donnie, here. Matt Milano's apparently out now. They still don't have Ed Oliver. So maybe, just maybe they don't win this game, but maybe they stay within this number. Don't forget, this was 12.5, even 13 at one point. So there's been a lot of Dolphin money in the marketplace that has brought this thing down to 11.5.
I'm glad you brought this up about the Buffalo Bills because we're handicappers, we're bettors, and you like to try to get those X's and O's. Like there are some teams I can pick up right away. Like, I like the quarterback to throw 2 touchdowns. I like this wide receiver to have 7 catches. I like this running back to have 50 yards and a touchdown. I look at the Buffalo Bills right now, Joe, the same way I look at the Detroit Lions. You go like, what's the correlation? Yes, 50-plus points last week for the Detroit Lions, but it's like, boy, who am I going to pick? Is it going to be Gibbs' big day, Montgomery's big day, Goff's big day, Amon-Ra Brown's big day? Like, there's so many weapons in there. But now I take a look at the Bills and go, I should like Khalil Shakir. Ooh, I don't know. Like, whose Tyron is it tonight? Ooh, I should like Keon Coleman tonight. That's kind of interesting here. Oh, no, I should like James Cook in the backfield. Or how about 2 touchdown pass out of Josh Allen? He goes, well, Josh Allen just ran 2 touchdowns in himself. They're so good right now as a Swiss Army knife offense, Joe. I'm finding it hard to pinpoint exactly what I like in the lineup tonight. Is that like, do you get the same way sometimes?
Listen, especially with a team that can not only pass the ball, and you have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in Josh Allen, right? And even Tua said it in an interview this week where he's like, listen, dude, I can't do half of what Josh Allen's like on a different level than me on what he can do and what he can't do. But I'm telling you right now, Josh Allen, the biggest thing they have always had to worry about with him is don't ask Josh Allen early in the season to put himself in harm's way that often. The good news with a running game now, Donnie, is they don't have to. But now it opens up the door for everybody else on this Buffalo team from a prop betting perspective that who do you zone in on? There is not one go-to guy anymore.
It's really hard. They'll get inside the 5-yard line. Oh, this is Cook territory. No, Allen runs it in. No, he throws it to Dawson Knox. Maybe it's Kincaid. Like everybody's on equal footing, which is great if you want to bet the Buffalo Bills. Just not great for prop bets to say, man, they scored 30 points. My guy didn't cash in a touchdown. What actually happened there at this point? But these 2 quarterbacks are going to duel. And also understand this. Usually the NFL, and rightfully so, Miami goes, we want Buffalo in our, stadium in let's just say early September. We want them to go in the heat where they might not be used to it. And then the Buffalo Bills always tell the NFL, you better put those Miami Dolphins up here December 16th in freezing cold temperatures. Thursday night is a tough game to play. We get that. But Joe, high 60s, no rain in the forecast, and light winds. It's as good as you're going to get for temperatures here. And we have a quick clip here of talking about, Tua saying, hey, man, Josh Allen's the real deal.
He's top tier. If it's not with his arm, it's with his legs. That dude can do literally anything he wants. So definitely different skill set for me. I can't do half of what he does when it comes to running the ball and any of that. And then with how he can just chuck a ball down the field, you know, with how far and the arm strength that he has. You know, he's supreme when it comes to that. So it's gonna be fun. Get to see him, get to play him again, and we'll see.
That sounds like they're going to get beat by 30 tonight, Joe. Help me out.
Don, imagine being a starting quarterback in the NFL and getting up and being like, that
never
dude
surrender.
Is heads and tails better than I am. Like,
never surrender.
I shouldn't even show up. Like, thank God I don't have to tackle him. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you saying right now? Yeah, he's a great player. You didn't need to go on and drone on and on and on. Like, oh my goodness, Donnie. That should be very interesting tonight to see how much Josh Allen is that much better than Tua, since he just admitted it to the whole world.
Now, the ways that you can go about taking a look at the Miami Dolphins today, right? They're getting a lot of points. It's a Thursday. It's still a division battle. They're not dead in the water. They didn't show up in week number 1. We can agree at that. They put up a fight against New England and probably should have won that football game, but they didn't. And yes, there is something about the pressure of the environment where Buffalo is 2-0. They should win this game, yes, but Miami knows they go 0-3. It's an absolute disaster. All hands on deck. That doesn't mean you win the football game, and that doesn't mean you can cover the spread. But the one thing that you take a look at is, hey, maybe there is something to Tyreek Hill being able to get open deep again. 100-yard game last week. Jalen Waddle's still a very good and fast and talented wide receiver. The one thing I like about this Miami Dolphins team is Devon Achane last year, coming onto the scene over the past 2 years, injured a lot. He's not injured now, and he looks really good. Is that the linchpin tonight for the Miami Dolphins to try to keep this game close? Is it Devon Achane, or maybe it's just the passing game and opening it up for you, Joe?
Well, it better be Achane involved in that passing game, because I don't know that they're going to be able to run the ball, Donnie. They have not been able to run the ball. But the good news is, if they don't have Ed Oliver, they don't have Matt Milano, maybe this is the night. You know, the best defense against Josh Allen is keeping him on the sideline, Donnie. So maybe Achane rushing the ball might be the best look here tonight.
It could be, and also trying to keep Josh Allen on the sideline, whack him in the nose. We're going to get a picture and a glimpse here of what he's actually going to wear in this football game to protect that nose. If the Dolphins can even get close to him and try to pass rush him here, we'll find out. More handicaps on the way. It's Buffalo. It's Miami. It's Thursday Night Football. It's the early line on the SportsGrid Network. It is a Thursday, and we have Thursday Night Football tonight. Orchard Park, New York. That is the Miami Dolphins taking on the Buffalo Bills. Line here, most outlets at 12.5 right now. Most outlets at 49.5. We'll see where that gets closer to game time here. But we got some interesting dynamics at play tonight, and that's James Cook. Anytime touchdown market as a running back, a -175 price. Josh Allen, anytime touchdown market, a -170 price. Devon Achane, the first Miami Dolphin to appear on the list, at a +110 price. If we're starting in the touchdown market tonight, Joe, 50 points. We're expecting a lot of touchdowns. Somebody has to score. Who's scoring for you tonight?
Yeah, there's a lot. Well, if Miami is going to stay close in this game, it better be, you know who. It better be Tyreek Hill. It better be figure out a way with that banged up secondary still of Buffalo to get him the ball in space. And if they don't, there's going to be an awful lot of, pouting and screaming and finger pointing on the sideline. And that's what we've gotten already. So, yeah, I would expect, Tyreek to be able to at least get enough opportunities, Donnie, to be able to find pay dirt here against this banged up secondary of the Bills.
I'm telling you right now, like, the theory is sometimes you can just look at lines where the book does not want you to bet those two lines. And I'll repeat it again, James Cook and Josh Allen. I'm not playing minus money here for a touchdown. Watch them both score a touchdown in the first half, and you're sitting on the sidelines here. But if you want to get creative, Joe, here's the way I look at it. We're expecting points tonight. It's a nice night. And maybe the Buffalo Bills do blow out the Miami Dolphins, which means more throwing in the second half for the Miami Dolphins, which means when they get inside the 10-yard line, they're not handing the football off because they want to score as fast as they can. Why not, Joe? Tyreek Hill +170, Jalen Waddle +110. Take both of those guys at big-time plus money prices and say, if Tua is going to throw 2 touchdowns tonight, chances are one of those players is going to catch one of those touchdown passes and take the plus money. Now, granted, they both get in. That is a monster night. But, Joe, I'm playing plus money for the wide receivers in a game I expect a lot of passing, particularly in the second half. Plus money, man. That's where I'm going. Give me the split.
I'm with you, Donnie. Again, it's they're going to have to push the ball. They're going to have to score because that Miami defense is hot trash, especially that secondary there. So not only is Buffalo going to be able to move the ball, they're probably going to be able to score pretty easily, which means Miami is likely going to be playing from behind most of this game. And I don't think, McDaniels has any idea on how to slow tempo down and drag. And that's not what this game plan is going to be for the Dolphins. They're going to try to get into a shootout with the Bills. And I don't know that's a great game plan, but it certainly helps for the prop betting market.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of these receiving props, because typically you're going to go to the A1A guys, right? Tyreek Hill one side, Khalil Shakir on the other. Now, you might want to go that direction where it's 64.5 for Tyreek Hill, Khalil Shakir at 40.5. But this is also what I just brought up talking about this. We're expecting a big-time, easy victory for the Buffalo Bills. Oh, Donnie, why do you say the odds makers are saying that? It's a double-digit spread in the NFL, which is quite rare at times. You might get one or two, maybe a week. This is one of those games. And it's closer to 14 points right now, 12.5, than it is to 10 points. But understand this. Like, if the Bills are going to score, look at the wide receiver spot here. Khalil Shakir, 40.5. Keon Coleman, 42.5. Kincaid, 31.5. Josh Palmer, 35.5. We're not talking about the upper echelon, you got to get 75 plus receiving yards to cash this ticket in. If we're expecting the Buffalo Bills to approach 30 points, look how low, Joe, these numbers are in the receiving props for the Bills. If I had to give you one player on the Buffalo Bills as a receiver tonight to go over his player prop, who would you actually be picking out tonight?
Well, Shakir is a good look here, but so are the tight ends, right? Whether it be Kincaid or Knox. Those guys certainly inside the red zone have always been favorite targets of Josh Allen, and it makes sense since I don't know that we've yet to see this linebacking crew of Miami be able to actually defend a pass-catching tight end here. Don't think we've actually seen that yet. So it would not shock me if the tight ends on Buffalo have big nights here in Orchard Park.
Yeah, I look at it and I say to myself, because I've always liked Khalil Shakir, and I do think, obviously, Josh Allen, it is his go-to guy, but they do spread it around a lot. Like, this is one of those games I just feel like, and you've pointed out multiple times, and you're right, like, Miami doesn't really do a lot well on defense. So if you're trying to get your guys going, like Shakir over 40.5 yards, that seems like a doable proposition. Keon Coleman, you take more deep shots with, I get it. Kincaid at tight end, Palmer, sort of a backup. James Cook at 12.5, that's one screen pass, he gets it done. But I'm sort of looking at that lead dog here. I'm looking at Khalil Shakir over 40.5 receiving yards. I think that does make a lot of sense. The math ain't math in here. You might say, Donnie, what are you talking about? What math? I don't want to do math early on a Thursday morning. It's Donnie Rightside at Showdown. It's early on. We don't like to do math unless it's handicapping and trying to put the odds in our favor here. The Commanders, they are returning back to D.C. They're in Landover right now, which if you're ever in the FedEx Field / whatever the heck it's called today, it's a terrible place. It's a terrible site. It's just bad. It started out as Jack Kent Cooke Stadium. It's basically just a huge aluminum tin can in the middle of a suburb here. So they're going back to the old site of the RFK. But Bleacher Report put out a tweet here, Joe, that I don't understand how we got here. The Commanders are returning to D.C., it says. The D.C. City Council has approved a $3.8 billion renovation of RFK Stadium for 2030. Why aren't we just knocking the old stadium down and building a new one? I want to start right there with you, Joe.
Yeah, my initial guess would be the same reason why you don't. It is, but what 3.1 billion, 3.8? How you're not saving money, are you? I mean, like when you want to do, you don't knock down the house, you leave a wall up because it saves you in the long run because it's a renovation and not a new build. So you save all this money on taxes and everything else. But that can't be it when you're paying almost $4 billion for a renovation. So I have no idea why it is that they won't just level it and start from scratch.
Now, D.C. steals a lot of our money in the way of taxes. This sounds like somebody's pocketing like $3 billion and laughing all the way to the bank. Now, understand this. If we put things in context, when you look at the NFL stadiums, like the newer ones, like Jerry World, AT&T Stadium comes up right away like, this thing, like Jerry will tell you, like, it almost bankrupted me. It costed me so much money to try to build this. And it's probably the go-to arena for like extravagance and giantness and big games. And it's Jerry World. That cost $1.3 billion when it was built. Well, Donnie, there is inflation. Yes, there is. Which in today's dollars, Joe, $1.9 billion. You're telling me this Redskins Stadium renovation is twice as expensive in real dollars, today's dollars, than what we had before? What? Who's paying for this?
Yeah. Yeah, right. Well, apparently, those that live in D.C. and here, newsflash, Donnie, they can afford it.
Oh,
I'll tell you that right now, because everything in Washington, D.C. is about 4 times the price of where it is in other places. So, but I believe it's not just the stadium. I believe it's an entire complex that they're going to be putting together. So I don't know that it's just for the stadium. I think there's a few other buildings that might be also built there in and around it.
imagine, like, again, like, I just wish the government would come to myself, Joe, or anybody listening and say,
Yeah.
hey, Joe, looks like you're in the market for a new house. You're going to buy it, let's just call it 750,000. How about Dade County gives you 350,000 towards that there? And we give you a nice new road. We build all the infrastructure for you. We'll give you tax abatements where you don't have to put any money down. Welcome into the neighborhood. Only billionaires and millionaires get this. Well, can you imagine you saying, all right, well, the stadium's going to cost 1.8 billion, but it'd be nice if the taxpayers paid for all the surrounding, buildings to be built. So they're hotels, they're casinos, they're places to eat. We make all the money, but the taxpayers paid for it here. Unbelievable how the NFL owners, NBA owners, NHL owners hoodwink society. Like, well, I'll move the team unless you give me, I don't know, $1 billion that only is going to come back from my profit and not yours at this. Make it make sense, as I like to say. It does not make any sense. But let's get back to the NFL this weekend with some quarterbacks who make it make sense if they can play. That's Brock Purdy going up against Arizona. That line is a 2.5-point spread right now. Why? Because we're expecting Mac Jones to play against the Cardinals in a total of 45.5. So let's start here. Does it matter to you if Mac Jones or Brock Purdy plays? Because Mac Jones looked decent last week. Second start under his belt. They're the favorites against Arizona. They probably still should win. Are we worried if Brock Purdy comes back a little bit too soon for this one?
Listen, I was kind of shocked that he wasn't able to go last week after that game against Seattle in the opening. But, he had a couple of different injuries, one being, I believe, a toe, and they had maybe a shoulder problem. But listen, if he's able to go, he's able to go. It's a divisional matchup. It's an important matchup for him, for this 49ers team. And, they've had some success over the years against Arizona and Kyler Murray. So, if you can get him back and he's able to go, they're still a better team, in my opinion, with him under center than Mac Jones. Although it's good to know that Mac Jones can step in if there's an issue and win you a game.
Yeah, we got some more hot topics here certainly to bring up in hour number 2 and a couple more here. And I know Joe is a Jets fan because I want his take on the Jets and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this game this weekend with a quarterback change because Justin Fields is not going to be able to go. But I don't want to shortchange Joe Raineri. He's a Jets fan. He should be able to let loose on this topic, and we'll do that in hour number 2. Aren't we having fun? It's a Thursday night football matchup between the Dolphins and the Bills. It's Joe and Donnie in the morning. The only place to be is on the SportsGrid Network. You wanted it, you got it. It's Carson Wentz, it's Jake Browning. Isn't that exactly what you wanted here? Cincinnati versus Minnesota? Well, that's what you're getting this Sunday at 1 o'clock. The line actually opened up as a minus 1.5-point favorite here for Minnesota. People buying in Joe Raineri on Carson Wentz. They're up to a -3 in the sports betting landscape here in the total, which crashed down from 47.5 to 41.5. I'm telling you right now, Jake Browning's been around the block a little bit in the NFL. He's got weapons at wideout. He's going to throw touchdowns. He's going to throw interceptions. I just don't know what I'm getting out of Carson Wentz. I trust Jake Browning way more than I do Carson Wentz in this game. Am I wrong? Or am I missing something?
I know you're not wrong here, but this game is going to be decided by the defenses. Which defense here can force the other backup quarterback into some issues here. Both of these backup quarterbacks have some pretty good weapons to work with, Donnie, except the Aaron Jones injury now for Minnesota is concerning. Now their running game, not exactly as potent as it was if he didn't pull the hamstring. But, Chase Brown and Higgins and you got so much on the other side there where, listen, they're going to want to step up with Joe Burrow, knowing what happened to him last week. They're going to want to step up and get this done. I just don't know that we're getting over 41.5 points, Donnie. It feels like that might be a struggle in this game in Minnesota.
Because I do think Cincinnati can move the football. Like they moved it against Jacksonville. And again, that's on a week where Browning didn't expect to get any playing time. They're not going to shy away from what they do. Because the interesting part, as you bring up, is I don't know what I'm getting out of Carson Wentz, which I'm not expecting great things. Like, hey, Wentz dropped back 38 times and threw for 300 yards. No, he's probably going to have interceptions and fumbles and missed reads out here. But the question is what can that Cincinnati defense do to stop anybody at this point? And can they certainly take advantage of it? And also, I know you're not supposed to do this. Like Justin Fields down for the Jets. Common theory is like, you know what? Maybe the Jets are just better without Justin Fields, which is crazy to think about, but it does pop into your mind. I'm not saying J.J. McCarthy is a complete bust at this point, right? But 7 out of 8 quarters, he was a disaster. Could Wentz actually be like, hey, look, Darnold did it as a veteran. Like, I know what I'm looking at, and I think I can execute. Why not? Like, why can't he execute?
Listen, I'm sure he can, but not having a running game is a bit of a concern for me. That offensive line is a bit of, I mean, this is a concern across the board for Minnesota. The saving grace for them is that defense, and it does look like they're gotten a little bit healthier here. Akuda, I believe, is back. Their linebacker is back. Theo Jackson looks like he's going to play. So they are going to have their complement back there on the defensive side of the ball. And again, that's what's going to have to win it for them. They got to keep the scoring down in order to give Wentz an opportunity to win this game.
Well, they're going to force feed that ball to Jamar Chase. Good or bad, interceptions, touchdowns. Let's see what happens here. How about Philadelphia? Rematch of the divisional round last year. Not going to be snowing this time around, where Saquon Barkley went nuts. Then the Eagles took their foot off the gas pedal, almost lost the game if it wasn't for a Jalen Carter. Oh, look at this. Nobody's going to block me. Let me take a quick sack here on a 3rd and long now. And away the Eagles went into the NFC Championship game and eventually did win the Super Bowl. But look at this. Line opened up at 4.5. Now it's down to 3.5. Do we see 3s on game day? The one thing we know about the Eagles, good football team, yes, not on track on offense. Kellen Moore went to the Saints here, and now you're dealing with a new offensive coordinator. Things look a little bit stagnant right now. Are we seeing a lower scoring game, or is this the game where the Eagles go, no, we're in the 20s every single game. We should be able to handle our business and come away with a victory here?
Well, we're going to find out. Against this defense is a different animal. I mean, this is now a one more year experienced young Rams defense here. Stafford, healthy, weapons. This is going to be a test for the Eagles, who haven't exactly been lighting anybody up here in their first couple of games. It looks like to me like maybe that offense still a work in progress, trying to get their feet under them here. They can win low scoring games. I mean, 24-20, 2017 doesn't strike me as a high scoring offense right now, especially against a pretty darn good Rams defense. Eagles may win this game, but if you're going to leave me the hook, I'm going to take it with the Rams at 3.5.
Yeah, I'm looking for a way to bet that game to see what comes out right, because the Eagles are hearing it here, certainly on local sports radio in the Philadelphia region, where it's like, okay, well, the Eagles got to change things up. You know, you're running 2 tight end sets, 90% of the time on the field, you're running the football. You got to change those tendencies. Maybe the Eagles do, but that's a pretty good football game that we're going to watch this weekend nonetheless. Denver and Los Angeles Chargers. This line is a little bit fishy to me, Joe. Opened up at 2.5 as a favorite towards the Chargers. Still sits at most outlets right now at a 2.5. Looking at the ticket count, close to 7 out of every 10 tickets coming in on the Chargers, and you probably would agree. They should be a public darling right now after their first 2 games. But something tells me Denver has the ability to rise to the occasion. I'm interested to see where this line actually ends up on Sunday.
Which version of defenses do we get in this game for the Chargers and the Broncos?
Yeah.
Like, do we get the Chargers on a short week that shows up like they did against the Raiders? Or how about the Broncos? Do they show up like they did against Tennessee? Or do we get 900 yards of offense for Herbert like we just watched Danny Dimes light him up? But to me, the big concern here is that the Broncos lose that Indy game twice. Have they moved past it? Are they able to correct the stupid mistakes here and shore up that defense? I think they will. There is no home field advantage for the Chargers here in any way, shape, or form. So I like the Broncos. I like them even more in teasers this week, Donnie.
How about this game? You want offense? You might get it here. Why? Because the defenses have been downright atrocious on both sides here. Dallas and Chicago. It's Dak Prescott. It's obviously Caleb Williams, but this total up from 47.5 now till 50 because last week neither one of these defenses could stop their opponent, and maybe we're thinking the same thing. Decent weather conditions in Chicago expected here, as is in the early season of September. What are we getting? Because is this where the defenses bounce back, or Caleb Williams finally shows up, or you open things up? Because Chicago can't afford to go to 0-3. We know that. The Dallas Cowboys looking for a victory on the road, but it is roughly a pick-em out here between these two. I always lean towards the home team, and I tell you, I'm actually leaning towards the Bears in this one, Joe, even though they got their head taken off last week by the Lions.
Yeah, no, they did. And how they opened up as a favorite against Dallas was hysterical because the market quickly readjusted that line here. And now you've got Dallas as the slight favorite on the road against this Bears team. And I'm with you, Donnie. I think the Bears money has not hit yet. I think the Bears money will hit before kickoff. And if you can get the plus money now, and you like Chicago at home, I would grab this here. I do not like that Dallas defense. Caleb Williams, if you're going to turn the corner, this would be a good defense to get it going with.
Rome Odunze showing up with a couple touchdowns last week in a big-time losing effort, but still, he's probably going to be eyed up again this week for some big target action. Sunday Night Football, Kansas City and New York. The game kind of stinks, but it's kind of intriguing at the same time because why? Kansas City doesn't have a win yet on the season, and you want to see if they can possibly go 0-3. Xavier Worthy did practice in a limited capacity yesterday on a Wednesday, something to keep an eye on because they need him back in the worst way. But they, talking about the Chiefs, opened up at 6.5, now down to 5.5 at FanDuel, still 6s and 6.5s across the landscape here, and a 44.5 total. Can the Giants move the football against the Chiefs, or are the Chiefs actually in trouble and in danger of going 0-3 against a bad Giants team?
No, they're not. The Chiefs are going to roll this game here, and I know it's trying. Oh, can't play road favorite and lay that many points. Yes, you can. The Chiefs will bounce back in this spot. They should have won, Travis Kelce, that game against Philadelphia last week, and they had an opportunity to beat the Chargers here. They have no problem beating teams over the years they're supposed to beat. I think they will, and Dable will be very firmly be on the hot seat after this game.
No way. Mara loves the guy. Hey, man, Jackson Dart's coming in. Give me another year. Like, you know what? I think you're right here. Stick around. Joe Shane, do you want to sign bad free agents every single year? Yeah, come on, man. Get out there and do that business here. We'll have some fun. Detroit and Baltimore. We're not going to get to this game, but it's Monday night. And boy, what a crown jewel that is from the Charm City that we're going to talk about later on Friday and also certainly on Monday. Cam's coming up next. Let's go. We love energy on the early line. You need energy in the morning specifically. We have an NFL game on deck, an afternoon of Major League Baseball, and who knows, the Ryder Cup on the horizon. It's Donnie Rightside, it's Joe Raineri, and the energy man is here. It's Cam Stewart, the Prime Minister, joining us on a Thursday. Thank you, Cam, for bringing the energy that I know you will.
Thank you, guys. I'd like to thank the mayor of Miami for getting me fired up. You know, I don't care about the Chiefs. You should have beat your Eagles. Donnie could have beat the Bolts. You're right, Joe. You think there's going to be a boat race time. Just absolutely cut them. Hey, and this could happen tonight. What Bills team shows up, fellas? The one that wants to absolutely annihilate Miami and name their score, or, you know, just kind of play around with them like a cat and a mouse, you know what I mean, and just win the game. That spread is so high, but guys, when we're looking at things, it's hard to lay that kind of point. Like you're looking at the points going, what am I doing here? I do like over in this game, guys. I know a lot of these games, these primetime games, I first lean under, but I think just the Bills offense in general can score some points. And conversely, the Jets didn't do it, but the Bills defense has some holes, Donnie. You guys know it's a little bit leaky. So maybe Tua and Miami can get some touchdowns there. That 49.5, that looks a little bit light to me, guys. I lean Bills, but laying lumber like that. Last week, guys, birds. People laugh at themes. I was telling Kevin Walsh yesterday. Did you know birds went 5-0 ATS and straight up last week? I'm looking for a theme this week. It might be religious. Saints, Cardinals, but Cardinals also falls into the bird and religion theme. But I'm a Seahawk. Sure, I'll give you the chart, Joe. It's very complicated. You know, cowboy theme. Anyway, we got a lot of them. But I'm going to say, as a Seahawks fan, and we talked about this last week, they go in there to Pittsburgh, they beat the Steelers. Now you come back home against the Saints team and you go, okay, it's going to be 7.5. Donnie, I'm a Seattle fan, and I'm telling you, I like the Saints this week. I think it's too many damn points. They've been hanging with all their opponents. Could have beat the Niners. Had the ball last in their first week, too, against the Arizona Cardinals. Seattle's just one of these teams. I know they eventually will have a breakout win and smash somebody at home, but that's a lot of points, guys. Joe, I am dark. You remember the day when I worked with you? I found so much garbage in the dumpster. It was ridiculous. I'm looking at teams like Tennessee this week, Carolina, the Saints. It's going to be one of my plug my nose this week, Donnie. Yeah, but Donnie, bad teams can win and cover too in the National Football League. It's a week-to-week league. You know what I mean? Like I'm on the Giants last week. They almost win that game outright. Things like this happen. So I'm looking at desperate teams who need wins. And another thing is, I know who's been the most disappointing team in the league with you guys? Or would you say Broncos one of them? I like the Broncos to beat the Bolts too. I'll take the 2.5 / money line.
Broncos bouncing back. Joe always has something to say there about those Denver Broncos. Can they lose 2 games in a row just because they couldn't get over that Colts victory? I want to get back to this Thursday night football game, Cam, because you brought up some pretty good statistics here. I do think the Miami Dolphins are not the team that goes, well, the best way we can do it, which again, theory would be, let's keep Buffalo off the field. They're not going to line up and run the ball 45 times tonight. That's not what they do. They're going to go down swinging at this point, which means extra opportunities for the Buffalo Bills. And if you watched last week against the Jets, the Bills were just bored in the second half. They knew that the Jets could not move the football at all. If you get Miami moving the football early, that launches the Bills into, we can run this up on them and we can have a lot of fun on offense. How do you bet this game? Not from a side perspective or even from a total perspective. I'm having a tough time saying which Buffalo Bill do I love tonight in the odds market? Really?
It's a great question. I know with the Dolphins, Etienne's my guy. They're running back. I have the feeling there's going to be some quick hitters out of the backfield. And let's remember, last week against New England, he stepped out of bounds. They could have won that game. So I'm looking, you know what, Donnie? Buffalo has so many weapons on their team. I'm thinking, okay, who do we get acclimated in this point? Shakir will be open a lot. Yeah. I know Cook's going to get his touches, but it could be a Keon Coleman day. I'm starting to think he is coming around. We've been waiting for him. He was great at Florida State, and I'm seeing a chemistry being built with Josh Allen in this spot. So I'm looking at Keon Coleman numbers. They're a little bit lower. And guys, this is what we have to think about tonight. Backup running backs and stuff in the anytime touchdown, like 8-1 market and over. Because if the Bills destroy these guys, we're going to see backups in the game. You know what I mean? So it could be very, very interesting. Guys that aren't on the board. But Donnie, for Miami, Etienne, and for the Bills, I'm going to attack Keon Coleman tonight. First touchdown, I usually take a tight end. I'm going back to my boy Kincaid. He's been good to me. When I hit him at 16-1 before, I'm going to do it again. Love tight ends for first touchdown. Good numbers.
All right.
That's what I like.
Feels like you better hit it early. It really does, though, Cam, right? You better hit it early because the way Buffalo runs the ball, I don't know how many points Miami's going to add to it in the second half. So first half, 25.5 total points, Cam. If they're going to score, they better score early. Otherwise, that second half could be all Buffalo and Cook running all over that Miami team.
You're right, Joe. And another thing we have to do is the reason I'm liking this angle is because I think Miami actually comes out and does something early in this game. I think they can actually score a touchdown or whatever, and that helps the total. But if they lie down and die for Buffalo, why would Buffalo risk anything? They're just going to roll all day, 3-yard runs, 4-yard runs, tick, 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 tick. So that's what they're going to do. So I'm expecting early points. Good call by Raineri. The first half over a look. And Donnie, I've been following golf. I'm watching the Open de France, French Open, whatever the hell it is. Watch them now. They just started, but I got a guy at 25-1. He's currently 20. Adrian Sadier lost in the playoff to Alex Noren last week, and he finished 5th in the tournament before. He's also French. They're playing in France. I like this guy's form right now. So that's a guy I'm looking at. We've got all weekend to bet this stuff. Remember the name, Adrian Sadier. Mon Dieu. Bonjour.
Bonjour, baby.
Anyway.
By the way, Cam, if we're looking this weekend in the pro football game, a lot of backup quarterbacks are slated to play. How do you deal with that? Like Browning in Cincinnati, you take a look at obviously Tyrod Taylor and the New York Jets. How do you deal with this?
I love it, Donnie. You want to know why? I get line value with guys who I think are just as good. The only difference is, am I going to say Browning is as good as Burrow? No, he's not as good as Joe Burrow. But you know what he does? He comes back and covers numbers like he did the last game. What the hell is the difference between Tyrod Taylor and Justin Fields? Nothing. Actually, Tyrod Taylor throws a better ball. So I love backup quarterbacks, Donnie, because You're not laying numbers with these guys. You're getting 2 or 3 points of line value. Everyone's like, oh, this guy's a backup. He's going to suck. I tend to disagree. I love betting on backup quarterbacks. I think they put us in good spots. We get better numbers, and they're there to play for something. Browning's a good quarterback. I watched him at Washington. Sure, he'll throw a few picks, but he also is pretty damn good, and he knows the offense flawlessly.
And he loves to find Jamar Chase here. A lot of fun, certainly this weekend you can have in the NFL, but always a lot of fun when Cam Stewart joins us right here on the SportsGrid Network for the early line. Bringing that energy, Cam. Keep the energy high for the rest of the grid day. Thanks again for joining us. Love it! Love it! Where does the time go? 2 hours, sometimes just not enough for all the fun that we have on the SportsGrid Network right here on the early line. We do it every single day, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern. Your place to be to start your SportsGrid day. And we always like to reach out to the public and see exactly where they're going today with some information. This is our Fade the Public poll. Seems like we're ready for this game tonight. Going through all the information, letting it play out, and seeing what happens tonight. It could be a blowout, could be a close game, could be a major upset, could be a lot of points, could be a little bit of points. That's the question we asked today. At SportsGrid, our X account here on social media. The question today, what is your best bet for Dolphins versus Bills on Thursday Night Football? 4 options: over, under, Dolphins, or Bills. For me, I went contrarian, even though I don't love it here. I actually voted for the under 49.5. I'm the 21% out here. I don't love it, but I'm just saying, like, is there a way that everybody just expects a ton of points? I just went contrarian there to see what happens. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of guys that are taking the points with Miami here tonight. And, you know, history tells us that, you know, an 0-2 team in this spot getting more than 3.5 points. It's been well over 60% that they have covered since 2010. So it's a good spot to back a team like Miami, desperate here. Having said that, to me, I think it's going to be a tale of two halves. If Miami is not in this game early, Donnie, then this game is going under in a big way in the second half, because I just don't trust the Dolphins to stop the Bills' offense enough. And the Bills with that running game will just chew the clock up like they did last week against the Jets, and it was over in the first half. That's what you got to worry about here tonight.